Okay, hi, welcome back. Time for another question from my Telegram channel. If you're interested to ask a question, then just go to the Devs Bioenergetics support group on Telegram, which you will find by looking in the description of any of my videos on YouTube. And the question, Dev, how does one cope with uncertain future and how to stop thinking in a pessimistic way about the future? I mean, it is hard these times with inflation and wars and a clown show of politics and media. Maybe someone here has some sources or book recommendations that help them cope with that fear. So a great question, I think, and one that probably a lot of people have. And I mean, I guess in a way my answer is kind of predictable, but it is also useful to understand that if you don't have an expanded sense of a body, if you don't really feel your body so much, then your only real option for coping with life is a lot of mental strategizing. So, before you go into any situation or, situation where you're a little bit worried about it, your mind will be strategizing, formulating plans of how to behave in this kind of situation, or what if it goes like that? What if it goes like that? And all that mental strategizing is happening to compensate for the lack of a sense of a body. So literally by that, I mean simply that the amount that you can feel your body, the more that you can feel your body, the more grounded you will be, and I think an easy analogy is to consider that, if you have this decent sense of a body, that you can feel your body, you can feel your pelvic area, your back, your lower back in particular, if you can feel all of that, then you kind of like, it's not a great model, but like a pyramid standing on its base. And, the buffets of life can come, an uncertain future, relationship dramas, work dramas, problems with friends and stuff like that, and you still have, you get hit by these things, and they affect us, but at the same time you're not hurled around so much because you're energetically like a pyramid, standing on its base. And if you're a very mind-centered person, you've learned all these strategies, which is not in any way your fault. It may just be to do with trauma conditioning or just the way your nervous system was that you inherited from your parents genetically. It may send you a lot in the mind to strategize, but then energetically, see if I can get this right. Well, you're more like a kind of pyramid standing on its point. I'm not doing a very good job there, but I'm sure you get the idea. And a pyramid standing on its point, it wobbles around a lot. So you get shaken about all over the place. So with bioenergetics, with Reichian work, my take on it is not so emotional, psychological even. It's more we're just going to expand the sense of a body, and particularly free up areas like the throat a bit, so you feel like you can communicate, speak, develop more feeling in the belly, so that so your mind knows that you can hold safe boundaries and feel the lower back and the back in general. This is area where if you have a decent level of sensation in your back, and especially your lower back, which is tricky, most people don't, then you will feel supported in life. Literally in your moment by moment experience of being alive, you will feel this support there. Often when I'm in a tricky situation, my mind's going crazy, I have a lot of leaving pattern, from early childhood trauma and just whatever. It's like, okay, feel my lower back. Some people breathe more slowly, which is also useful, but also feel the area of your back, because that's where your natural support is. So hopefully this is useful. I mean, the whole thing with negativity and positivity, because you also asked about that, is complex. Back in the 90s, everyone thought we just have to keep going positive, keep going positive, keep going positive. Doesn't really work. We have way less control over our life, the things that are going on in it, the desire to move forwards, the desire to create a good future. We have less control, less mental control than we used to believe. We used to believe that we can just program our mind for success and off we go. And it isn't really like that. It's not. There's a lot of control being exerted by our various defenses, including the nervous system. And that doesn't mean, of course, that we're totally powerless and it's not good to have a positive attitude, but always having to hold to the positive becomes like a neurosis. It becomes like a neurosis at some point. Like I say, back in the 90s, there was stuff like, there was this book, I remember seeing it. I used to live in an alternative center for a long time. You can't afford the luxury of another negative thought. And I just thought, now you're getting too crazy. It's like the mind that is healthy will go negative, it will go positive. You go negative, it will go positive. It's more in the middle. It's more in the middle. And from that, you're not afraid of the negativity so much. Of course, it can get extreme. And at the same time, you're not clinging to the positivity as a kind of counterbalance. You're more centered and in the middle. And from that, you can work out how to move forwards that's going to suit you and give you the life you want in a grounded way. And that's not to diminish the power of positive thinking. It still has value, particularly if you've been locked up in negative thinking for a long time. But when people come to me as clients, or I'm running workshops and people are busy with low self-esteem, I don't just tell them to go to high self-esteem, which is what all the coaches usually do. It's kind of temporary and doesn't really work that much. And you can see in people who've been in coaching in that scene for like 5-10 years, they kind of know it in the background. This stuff doesn't really work. It's better to get neutral, get used to being neutral, and then in a grounded way move positive. Okay, quite a lot of talking from me today. I hope that's been useful, and thank you very much for the question. I will speak to you guys later.